Now recently I went out in the bush on a trek and was just enjoying some epic views of creation. And I had with me a potential bush friend in the Böker made, German manufactured, fellow YouTuber designed by the Dutch bushcraft knives, Bushfriend 2000. And in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at, is this model a potential friend when you're out in the bush for all 2,000 potential adventures you have planned? And I'm really looking forward to this video, not only because the design just right away connects with me, but we're going to be running it up compared to several other models, including another design that they just recently released, the guys over there at DBK, the BUSHMATE 2.0. Man, those guys really like the bush over there. I already previously reviewed this. I'll have that video popping up. You can peel off and check that out anytime you want. But we'll be kind of comparing a little bit, budget friendly, not so budget friendly, more premium. And we're gonna find out if you need one of these right from the get-go to get the most out of this design. But we're gonna be running in some other manufacturers' designs and really seeing what the capabilities, potential limitations, because we have a really nice tip here, pretty precise. And the last tip I broke was on a Böker Bronco in 3V. So we're gonna find out if this can handle similar types of abuse or not throughout the video, and so much more. So you may be saying, well, who the heck is DBK Dutch Bushcraft Knives? If you are new to YouTube and knives, you are missing out. Go check them out right here. I'll have a link, as well as I'll have one popping up in the description box below. Epic knife reviewers, very entertaining. I am so thankful to have them as fellow comrades in the knife community, and I encourage you to check them out. They put up videos every single week, just like myself. And you may be saying, well, who the heck are you? I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. Let's have a blast. Let's have some fun and dive on in. So as we begin, let's dive into the handle ergonomics, because a bushcraft knife, which is in theory, I would argue this is what it's supposed to be, is going to be used for an extended period of time. You're going to be using it for carving, whittling. It's not a quick cut, one and done type of tool. It's a long tool that's going to be engaging with your hand, therefore connecting with your body and soul, and either becoming one or not with you, depending on if the design is well executed or not. And to be clear, throughout this video, DBK does not know that I'm making this video. I haven't communicated with them whatsoever, and I went out and purchased this knife design myself so we can find out whether or not it makes sense or not. So with that, the handle itself we're looking at is a full tank construction with rich light handle scales, pinned in with a tubed lanyard hole. Now, leave a comment below, because I'd be really curious. I get comments sometimes from you guys that you'll only buy fixed blades that have pinned in handle scales. I mean, it definitely brings a level of quality. I don't really care. I don't give a rip if it's bolted on or pinned on, as long as it functions and operates. So the first thing I wanted to do is start pounding on this, splitting and batoning, to see if this would start to loosen up, shift, create any sort of issues, and cause problems, showing a lack of fit and finish and quality. And thankfully, I can report that it performed exceptionally well. And even when you like pound on it, you can hear a solid, not tingy. That's a really fast way to tell if the pinned in handles are well done, or if there are gaps or issues. If you just like side slap it on a piece of wood, you'll hear like ting, 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 in a weird vibration or not. I don't have any of that. So that is excellent. No shifting, no problems whatsoever. They're using black rich light. I love that material. I have it on a few knives now. It's an excellent material. They have high polished the heck out of this. So this is smooth as ice. This is slick as you can imagine, holding on to basically a Nalgene bottle. So they have to rely on geometry over tread, which I prefer, and they have done that excellently well with this guard. The guard sweeps in. We have a little bit of tapering, locking me into place, no jimping anywhere, anything like that. The guard is fully encapsulated by that tang, and there's no by the scales, so the tang is not exposed. I hate it when like a knife doesn't do that, and then you have these sharp edges, and it's just not fun to carve with. This, I can absolutely put that downward pressure, not going to create any issues. The Edges are all perfectly rounded. There's not a sharp spot or transition anywhere on this. Perfectly symmetrical, no lips or anything like that. And you're going to get a palm swell, maximum thickness of 0.72 with tapering near the neck and back to 0.62 on that, and fills out my large size hands perfectly with plenty of real estate so I can hold it in any grip and do exactly what I need to do for extended periods without any sort of hot spots. Now, really quick, kind of our first run-in with the BUSHMATE 2.0 from BPS. Again, previously reviewed. I think I said that in the intro. Anyway, very similar dimensions. 4 inches from guard to bird beak, 4 inches from guard to bird beak. Same thickness, just won't have tapering. One thing though is that we have 90-degree shoulders for pinch points on the BOKER, and the BPS has 45-degree pinch points. I kind of prefer the angle of the BPS. That's just me. Leave a comment. Do you prefer 90s or like contoured shoulders? It's just a preference thing. I mean, they both do what they're supposed to, and there's no real issues. It's just I like the 45 a little bit better. And as we transition into this blade, we got to check out the tip on this very high flat saber grind with a stock thickness of 0.14. So it's a little over an eighth, a little under 5/32. For this size of knife, I think is perfect. Now, the benefit to a precise tip like this is precision, man. You're gonna get precision cutting, carving, woodworking, food prep, and game processing potentially, but the trade-off is there is the potential for fragility, not being able to hold up too hard, or, you know, stabbing, some lateral side to side that may occur in the usage of this knife. And like I stated, one of the last tips I broke last year was on a BOKER Bronco in CPM 3V. I don't know if that was just a bad heat treat. Now, thankfully, the mini Bronco going under that same test did not get damaged, and it's sporting the same steel that is on this Bushfriend. So we're going to find out here in just a moment if this can handle that type of abuse or not. And as we approach the crossroads of this video, it's the perfect time to share a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Wear Watches. And for the past several months, I can attest that their lineup delivers on all fronts. But there is one that has stood out to me, and as soon as it came back into stock, I had to get my hands on, and it's the C5 AmeriQuartz Dirty Dozen model. Inspired by the legendary military watches of World War II, this timepiece blends heritage and modern performance. Provided by its US-built FTS AmeriQuartz movement, 40-month battery life, and it's being assembled right here in the United States. And they protect all those moving parts with a 100-meter water-resistant rating, with locking screw-down crown, 316L stainless steel body, and a single dome sapphire crystal face with AR coating. And that's just a fancy way of saying this isn't going to scratch very easily. And with Wear's quick change wristband system, and the Dirty Dozen comes with your choice of 2, this allows you to do a quick change in seconds, changing the entire style and vibe of the watch. And these are just a few of the many designs and features that Wear watches carry. So I'm gonna have a link popping up here as well as in the description box below, so that you can hop on over to their site, start exploring all the different models and what they bring to the table, so that you can stay on time for all of your upcoming adventures. And so, batter up, let's find out how this tip really holds up to 5 stabs into a 2x4. It's the exact same test I did on that other BOKER that broke on me, and whether or not it will hold up to that type of abuse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, yes, yes, yes. I'm making sure. Excellent. All right. Thank goodness. I was really not expecting it to survive that type of lateral, torque. And, don't treat your blades like screwdrivers and pry bars. We should not be doing that, but there has to be some level. What happens if you just like stick it in a stump and then your buddy grabs it and kind of pulls it up at a weird angle? Is it going to be able to handle some of that type of torque? Or, you're prying on a piece of wood to do something, whatever, what is it going to be able to handle or not? Thankfully, this can handle it. And maybe Again, maybe it's just a fluke on that Bronco I had, or it could be the 80 CRV2 steel. And that steel I really do enjoy. It is very tough. It is a Swedish saw steel. They use saw blades around the turn of the 20th century. Knife makers picked it up, and you can find it sometimes on like super premium blades, like $200, $300 knives sometimes use that steel. It's easy to resharpen, very tough. It's not super rust resistant, so you got to keep an eye on it. And I would argue when properly heat treated, will hold its edge better than like 1095 and 5160. Not by a lot, but it definitely, you know, will do that and very easy to resharpen. BOKER does not share their HRCs on their website currently. It's so hard to figure it out. They need to start doing that. That would be good to know. Now, when it comes to just general performance, I was really pleased. Durability's sake, this is absolutely holding up to what you would expect this knife and like the size of this knife to be able to handle. And I'll just run that in real quick. The BUSHMATE is going to be 4 inches. This is 4.3 inches overall length, so right in the sweet spot of what I look for. I love 4 to 5 inch blade lengths. The more I use the tool, I discovered an issue. It has to do with the height of the edge right here. The height and geometry of the edge it's very small. It's micronic, which I also had on the original Bronco. And what I found was I was having a lot of difficulty engaging, especially with wood to make feather sticks. I would oftentimes find myself sliding off, or it would bite in and remove more than I really wanted it to. And to get that really nice thin curl, I was having some trouble. That in combination with having to do a lot more sawing than I often have to do on, say, my hemp rope test because of the thinness and how short that initial edge bevel is, and meaning the geometry along with that. I just sawed it definitely more than, say, like the BPS and some other blades. And so I was like, well, I don't think it's me. I think it's the grind. Let me just double check. And so I busted out my LIONSTEEL B40 previously reviewed. There's the B40 and B41. I'll have a link popping up to that video. And you can see right away that the edge height is much higher on the LIONSTEEL, meaning that the geometry is steeper, meaning that it should engage with wood better, and it absolutely did. Right away, using the same wood, I was able to get a finer cut with a lot less effort. I didn't have the sliding off or biting in problem that the Bushfriend is giving me. That in tandem with less sawing on like cordage and things like that. And so that is something to note that I had to do on my mini Bronco, is bring up the edge. And I always test out factory edges first so that you guys know what you're getting straight out of the box. You know, you need to be good at resharpening. This is going to, for me personally, to get the type of performance that the B40 gives me and what I that's what I expect out of knives of this size, I am going to need to bring up and reprofile this initial edge. Not the end of the world, and thankfully ADCR-V2 is very easy to work with, so it's not going to take me a lot of time to do that. But that is something to note and to be aware of when you go into this particular blade. And leave a comment below. Do you always put on your own kind of custom grind geometry right away when you get a new blade, or do you prefer to have it ready to rock and roll to your preference out of the box? I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts. Now, as we look at the sheath and then run in some of these other competitive options, talk pricing, it's a leather sheath, dangler, great stitching, good thigh lashing. So you got the dangle, or you can do a little bit lower, good tension. It's not going to accidentally fall out. Zero issues. It's kind of thin on the leather. The BPS leather with the embossing right there is going to be denser. So it's just something to note. And if you do decide to get the BUSHMATE 2.0 and the Bushfriend 2000, you could always throw your BOKER right there into the BPS. So, I mean, there's zero issues with it. It was just, that's the only thing that I kind of noticed. It does have a fire steel loop. All that is that the leather is good, but a little bit thinner than on the BPS. Now, I paid $135 for this model. Again, links popping up and in the description box below. They sold out quick, so I'm sure they're going to come back in stock pretty quick. When we look at $135, I think fit and finish, quality, materials, all there, zero issues, you know, made in Germany, all that. Competitive option-wise, just for some food for thought for you to consider, is again that B40 and B41, very similar in size. Sleipner steel, I've used it a ton. It's going to have a better edge retention and better rust resistance than ADCR V2. Not as easy to resharpen in the field, but there's kind of, so you can see there, different traction. Leather sheath, I actually like the BOKER leather sheath better than the B40 leather sheath. Whoa. It doesn't have very good tension. It's just not quite to my preference, but that's right around the same price, around like 140 with lots of color combinations. You can check those out. And then we'll just look at another ADCR V2. This is a BRISA, you know, going to have a similar kind of idea sheath, made in Finland, I think. And 90-degree spine. This is the Trooper. Shout out all you Iron Maiden fans. There you go. Very similar size, but an awesome, awesome option as well to consider. So there it is, guys. The Bushfriend 2000, outside of a little elbow grease to get the edge where you want it. Phenomenal design. I love the design. And BOKER, thankfully, has really executed everything really well. Again, I would love to see them just, I know I'm talking about that a lot, but that is a factor. Is just changing that edge geometry. But other than that, phenomenally done. The guys over at DBK know what they're doing when it comes to these type of bushcraft style blades. And now you have multiple options to choose from. Do you want budget and you want Scandi? You know, go with the BPS BUSHMATE 2.0, and then if you want something a little bit more premium and with a high saber, well, then you got the Bushfriend 2000, and is an excellent potential Bushfriend when you're out there enjoying your adventures. So leave comments below, questions that I may not have answered. Leave those, and I'll do my best to answer them in the comment section. Check out the other videos, subscribe, and until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.